Why the narcissist is miserable without you, but will never admit it. Have you ever wondered what goes on in the mind of a narcissist when they lose someone they once controlled? Picture this. After months or even years of manipulation, gaslighting, and emotional abuse, you finally decide to walk away. At first, they seem unfazed, perhaps even relieved. But behind their carefully constructed mask of indifference lies a storm of insecurity, fear, and despair. The truth is, a narcissist's happiness is deeply intertwined with the people they exploit for validation, admiration, and control. When you leave, you take with you a piece of their fragile ego, leaving them scrambling to fill the void you've created. Intrigued? Stick around, because today we're diving deep into why the narcissist is utterly miserable without you, and why they'll do everything in their power to hide it. By the end of this discussion, you'll not only understand their inner turmoil, but also gain tools to protect yourself from being pulled back into their toxic orbit. Before we dive in, I want to invite you to join me on this journey of understanding. If you've ever found yourself questioning why a narcissist reacts so intensely when you set boundaries or walk away, you're in the right place. As someone who has studied human behavior and worked closely with individuals navigating toxic relationships, I'm here to break down the psychology behind this phenomenon in a way that's relatable, actionable, and empowering. Let's start by exploring the foundation of a narcissist's misery, their insatiable need for external validation. At their core, narcissists are driven by an overwhelming desire to be admired, worshipped, and seen as superior. This craving isn't just a preference. It's a lifeline for their fragile self-esteem. Without constant reassurance from others, their sense of self-worth crumbles like a house of cards. Think about your role in their life before you left. Chances are you were their primary source of supply, the person whose energy, attention, and affection kept their inflated ego afloat. Now that you've walked away, they're left staring into the abyss of their own inadequacies, and that's a terrifying place for them to be. Have you noticed how their attempts to reel you back in often escalate when they realize you're serious about leaving? That's because losing you isn't just inconvenient for them, it's existential. Now let's talk about the paradox of a narcissist's misery. They're incapable of admitting it. Imagine a world where a narcissist openly acknowledged their pain, vulnerability, or dependence on others. It would shatter the illusion of invincibility they'd worked so hard to maintain. Instead, they double down on denial, projecting their discomfort onto you or anyone else who crosses their path. They might accuse you of being selfish, cruel, or heartless for leaving them, all while masking their own desperation behind a facade of anger or indifference. But here's the thing. Beneath their bravado lies a profound sense of loss. They'd lost not just a partner, friend, or confidant. They've lost a mirror that reflected their grandiose self-image. Without you, they're forced to confront the harsh reality that they aren't as indispensable or extraordinary as they believe themselves to be. Speaking of confronting reality, let's delve deeper into the psychological mechanisms at play. Have you ever noticed how a narcissist seems incapable of introspection or accountability? When faced with rejection, they don't pause to reflect on their actions or consider how their behavior contributed to the breakdown of the relationship. Instead, they deflect blame, rewrite history, or engage in smear campaigns to paint themselves as the victim. These tactics aren't just attempts to save face. They are survival strategies designed to protect their fragile ego. Admitting fault would require them to confront their imperfections, something they're fundamentally unequipped to do. As a result, they cling to the narrative that you're the problem, not them. But deep down they know better, and that knowledge gnaws at them relentlessly. But here's where things get even more fascinating. Why does a narcissist continue to pursue someone who no longer wants them? On the surface, their persistence might seem like a sign of love or attachment. But scratch beneath the surface and you'll find a darker truth. A narcissist doesn't chase you because they genuinely care about you. They chase you because losing you threatens their identity. Your departure disrupts their carefully curated narrative of control and superiority, forcing them to reckon with feelings of abandonment and rejection. Unable to tolerate these emotions, they throw everything they have into winning you back, not out of affection, but out of desperation. Every text, call, or unexpected visit is a calculated move to regain the upper hand and restore their sense of power. Now let's talk about the toll this takes on you, the person being pursued. How exhausting is it to constantly fend off someone who refuses to respect your boundaries? Each message feels like a new invasion, chipping away at your resolve and leaving you questioning whether you're the one being unreasonable. Here's the truth. You're not. Narcissists excel at making others doubt themselves, turning simple acts of self-preservation into complex moral dilemmas. Am I being too harsh? You might wonder, should I give them one more chance? These questions are natural, but they're also part of the narcissist's playbook. By keeping you second-guessing, they keep you engaged, even if that engagement comes at great personal cost. So, what can you do to break free from this cycle? The first step is recognizing that the problem doesn't lie with you, it lies with them. No amount of reasoning, explaining, or compromising will satisfy a narcissist, because their demands are rooted in insatiable insecurity. Trying to appease them is like pouring water into a bottomless bucket. You'll never fill it, no matter how hard you try. Instead, focus on setting firm boundaries and sticking to them. This means limiting contact as much as possible, refusing to engage in arguments or negotiations, and prioritizing your own mental health above all else. Remember, a narcissist thrives on drama and chaos. Denying them access to those elements weakens their hold on you. Speaking of which, let's talk about the power of silence. Have you ever tried ignoring a narcissist's attempts to reel you back in? It's not easy, especially when they escalate their efforts in response. But here's the thing. Silence is one of the most effective tools you have in dismantling their influence. When you stop reacting to their provocations, you strip away their ability to manipulate your emotions. Without an audience, their performances lose their impact, and that's something they cannot tolerate. Sure, they might ramp up their antics in the short term, hoping to provoke a reaction. But over time, consistent silence sends a clear message. You are no longer willing to participate in their games. And trust me, that clarity is invaluable. Of course, implementing this strategy requires patience and resilience. There will be days when their persistence feels overwhelming, when old wounds reopen and doubts creep in. During those moments, remind yourself of why you chose to walk away in the first place. Reflect on the patterns of abuse, manipulation, and disrespect that characterize your relationship with the narcissist. Visualize the future you're working toward, a future free from their toxicity and full of possibilities for growth and happiness. These mental exercises can fortify your resolve, helping you stay grounded even when the narcissist tries to shake your foundation. Now let's address a common misconception, that cutting ties with a narcissist guarantees instant relief. While disengaging is undoubtedly a step in the right direction, healing from the aftermath of such a relationship takes time. Narcissistic abuse often leaves survivors grappling with symptoms of trauma, including anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. Rebuilding your sense of self-worth and learning to trust your instincts again is a process, one that may require professional support. Therapy can be an invaluable resource during this stage, providing a safe space to process your experiences and develop coping strategies. As a psychologist, I've seen firsthand how transformative therapy can be for individuals recovering from narcissistic relationships. It offers not only insight, but also empowerment, equipping you with the tools to navigate life post-narcissist with confidence and grace. Let's delve deeper into the concept of healing. One of the most damaging aspects of a relationship with a narcissist is the erosion of your identity. Over time, their constant criticism, invalidation, and projection can leave you feeling unsure of who you are or what you deserve. Breaking free from their influence gives you the opportunity to rediscover yourself, to reconnect with your values, passions, and dreams. Start small by engaging in activities that bring you joy or exploring hobbies you may have neglected while entangled with the narcissist. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family members who uplift and encourage you. Celebrate every milestone, no matter how minor it may seem. Healing isn't linear, but each step forward brings you closer to reclaiming your authentic self. Here's a thought-provoking idea. What if the narcissist's refusal to accept your rejection actually holds a silver lining? Consider this. Their inability to let go forces you to confront your boundaries head-on, strengthening your resolve and teaching you valuable lessons about self-respect. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice saying no firmly and unapologetically. Each boundary you enforce reinforces your autonomy, proving to yourself that you are capable of standing up for your needs. In a twisted way, the narcissist's persistence can catalyze your growth, if you allow it to. Rather than viewing their behavior as a source of frustration, reframe it as evidence of your strength and determination to live authentically. Let's shift gears for a moment and examine the societal factors that enable narcissistic behavior. Our culture often glorifies traits associated with narcissism, confidence, ambition, charisma, without examining the darker side of these qualities. Social media amplifies this dynamic, creating platforms where individuals can curate idealized versions of themselves and seek endless validation through likes, comments, and followers. For someone predisposed to narcissism, this environment provides fertile ground for their tendencies to flourish. Understanding this context is important because it highlights the systemic nature of the issue. While you can't change society overnight, you can arm yourself with awareness, recognizing the signs of narcissistic behavior before becoming entangled in it. Speaking of signs, let's talk about red flags. Early in a relationship, a narcissist may come across as charming, attentive, and irresistible. They'll shower you with compliments, gifts, and declarations of love, sweeping you off your feet in what's known as the love-bombing phase. While this whirlwind romance might feel intoxicating at first, it's often a precursor to more troubling behaviors down the line. Pay attention to inconsistencies in their words and actions, their tendency to dominate conversations, or their lack of empathy for others. These subtle cues can alert you to potential issues before they escalate into full-blown toxicity. Knowledge is power, and identifying red flags early can save you from unnecessary heartache. Now, let's circle back to the question of karma. Many survivors of narcissistic relationships find comfort in the idea that justice will eventually catch up with their abuser. While karma isn't a tangible force, per se, it operates on the principle that actions have consequences. A narcissist's relentless pursuit of control, admiration, and validation inevitably alienates those around them, leading to fractured relationships, damaged reputations, and professional setbacks. Over time, their web of deceit unravels, exposing their true nature to the world. Watching this unfold can be incredibly validating, serving as a reminder that fairness prevails in the long run, even if it doesn't always feel that way in the moment. But here's the thing. Waiting for karma to deliver justice shouldn't be your primary focus. Your energy is better spent cultivating a life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Focus on building meaningful connections with people who genuinely appreciate and respect you. Pursue goals that ignite your passion and bring you fulfillment. Nurture your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. By investing in yourself, you create a life so rich and rewarding that the narcissist fades into irrelevance. And isn't that the ultimate form of revenge? Not stooping to their level, but rising above it. Let's touch on the importance of community. Healing from a narcissistic relationship can feel isolating, particularly if the narcissist succeeded in turning mutual friends or family members against you. Finding a supportive network of individuals who understand your experience can make all the difference. Online forums, support groups, and counseling services offer spaces where you can share your story without judgment, receive advice from others who've walked a similar path, and celebrate victories big and small. Knowing you're not alone in your journey can provide immense comfort and motivation to keep moving forward. Have you ever wondered why narcissists struggle to form genuine connections? Despite their outward charm and charisma, they lack the emotional depth required to sustain meaningful relationships. Their interactions are transactional, driven by a desire to extract value rather than foster mutual growth. Friends become pawns, partners become trophies, and colleagues become stepping stones, all disposable once they've served their purpose. This inability to connect authentically ensures that narcissists remain perpetually isolated, even amidst crowds of admirers. It's a tragic irony, really. The very traits that enable their rise to power ultimately condemn them to loneliness. Let's pause and reflect on forgiveness. While holding on to anger and resentment toward a narcissist might feel justified, it ultimately harms you more than them. Forgiveness that doesn't mean excusing their behavior or absolving them of responsibility. It means releasing the burden of carrying their pain. When you forgive, you free yourself from the emotional weight of the past, opening the door to healing and renewal. Karma handles the rest, ensuring that the narcissist faces the consequences of their actions, while you embrace the future with renewed hope and optimism. Letting go isn't easy, but it's worth it, for your peace of mind and your overall well-being. Now, imagine this scenario. Years down the road, you encounter your ex-narcissist, or hear about them through mutual acquaintances. Instead of bitterness or regret, you feel a profound sense of calm knowing that you survived their toxicity and emerged stronger on the other side. Perhaps they've lost their job due to unethical practices, struggled to maintain meaningful relationships, or faced public humiliation after their lies caught up with them. Whatever the outcome, you realize that their struggles stem directly from the seeds they planted long ago. Meanwhile, you've grown into a wiser, more resilient version of yourself, surrounded by people who genuinely cherish and support you. Doesn't that realization make all the pain and heartache worth it? Thank you for joining me today and taking the time to explore this critical topic. If you found this discussion helpful, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content with others who might benefit from it. Your support helps us reach more people and build a community dedicated to healing, growth, and empowerment. Don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, experiences, and any questions you might have. Until next time, take care of yourself, honor your journey, and trust that you are capable of incredible things. You've got this.